Guys, in case you missed it in the last couple of videos, I got Raxxaz here with me again. Hi, Raxxaz.
Hello, guys.
Hi. In case you don't know, he's been streaming on Twitch. I've said it in the last video in case you missed it. But we're going to do how to ruin Douglas video. And usually I do how to ruin videos on my own. But, guys, where is Raxxaz? Shadow leader of Aftermath EU. Look at that right there. Endgame player. Pretty much a G3 player. Oh, okay. Yes, not pretty much. It's not pretty much G3 player, but G3 player, legend player, guild, siege, arena, world arena, special league. So we're gonna talk about how to ruin Douglas. Of course, for all levels, early game, mid game, and end game players aren't gonna watch this because they already know how to ruin Douglas. So I've already told Raxxaz off camera, do not give stats that are too impossible. no, but for real, Douglas. All right, how do we want to ruin Douglas? Actually, let's read the skills. I know Raxxaz enjoys me reading skills.
Oh yes, you guys enjoy as well, right?
I should have practiced. Okay, leader skill. Okay, increase the attack power of allied monsters by 33%. This is global, so it's arena, dungeons, whatever, rift beasts, etc. He has a passive that just got buffed in the last patch. Okay, so we'll just read through it. Martial Arts Instinct passive. When being attacked by an enemy, the chance of receiving a glancing hit increases up to 50% as the enemy's attack power is lower than your attack power. If the enemy lands a glancing hit, removes one harmful effect, basically like Chow, harmful effect and counter attacks. Oh, by the way, I'm reading this backwards from skill 3 to skill 1. And the reason I'm doing that is because the end of the skill moves you backwards. So removes one for harmful effects and counter attacks with Shuriken. Shuriken. Okay, and Shuriken is skill 2. Is that the word? Is that the right word?
Kinda, killer, kinda. You nailed it.
Okay, so this is his passive. So if your attack power is higher than the enemy, they have a 50% chance to glance, and if he glances, he counter attacks. I'll just spat. He removes one harmful effect and counter attacks with skill 2. Okay, skill 2 uses an uppercut to inflict damage and leaves a branding effect for 2 turns. Hadouken will be activated in succession with 30% chance, which is the skill 1. So he's gonna hit you with skill 2, and with 30% chance he's gonna hit with skill 1, and that's the reason I'm reading it backwards. And then skill 1 uses Hadouken on the enemy to inflict damage and decrease the attack power for 2 turns with a 50% chance. This guy can this guy is very dangerous in RTA. He's also kind of dangerous in Siege. I know there's people using him in solo R5s, but I don't think any other PvE. I think like Rift Beasts, solo R5s, not like dragons and not Necro and stuff.
Nah, not for normal dungeons.
But R5 and RTA and Siege, and I think the only difference between Siege and RTA, Siege and RTA ruining, in my opinion, would be just have him on will maybe in RTA, and in Siege maybe not. I don't know. We'll get there. All right, Raxxaz, how would you ruin this guy?
Well, there basically is only one rune set, right?
Exactly.
Like, it's clearly vampire, like nothing else makes sense to ruin this guy on because of the passive, right? Revenging with 50% almost. If you have more attack and like scaling up to this 50%, like it has to be vampire. Like no way you're not ruining it vamp.
Everyone.
And for the offsets, if we're coming to RTA, I think there's 2 options. Like Will probably is the best universal set on him. But for certain situations, I think Nemesis can be also really good because he's not that tanky, right? Most of the time he's not ruined that tanky. And it's either Nem or Will as offset, and it's always going to be Vampire for main set.
So Vampire, Will, Vampire, Nemesis, and the Nemesis, because he's low HP, he's going to get more speed and have more turns, and on wheel for RTA, for example. Yeah, like exactly like you said. Would you say like my one on RTA has will, but my one for Siege has destroy?
That's fine, I think.
It's fine, right? So will, Nemesis, destroy, and I would say like early game players, I think they can have Vampire Blade, in my opinion.
Vampire Blade, sure. Like honestly, if you can get really good stats, like that's not a bad set.
Yeah. So the stats,
because you want him, you want him like to have as much crit as possible, because it hurts you when he revenges and doesn't crit and doesn't get the HP back because of low damage. So Blade is definitely an option.
So guys, the stats that we're going to talk about, what you want to aim for is going to be like more of end game player, but it's very, very simple because we're going to tell you what you want to aim for if you're a mid game player or a lower early game player. Okay. So for example, let's just say, actually, you know what? Let's get into it. For HP, how much do you want to aim for end game? I would say around over 15k plus HP. You want to like 15 minimum.
I would say so as well. Like
15,
14, 15k is something you should go for. Like let's say 13 to 15k, because it really depends of reaching the really good stats you want in total, right? So somewhere between there, but definitely like the 13k minimum, I would say.
Yeah. So end game, right?
Yeah.
End game. Okay, good. So I'm not end game. I'm 11k. Okay, so what makes this guy unique is the attack on the passive. So if you have higher attack, like remember how Savannah used to defense break if she has higher attack power, okay, and they used to counter it with Fang. So the way to counter this guy is you want to have more attack than him, but nothing's gonna have more attack than this guy because this guy's built on pure attack. So he's gonna revenge with a glancing hit. So you want to go attack, crit damage, attack, and you want to go as much as possible on the attack. So what would you say end game players attack plus is?
I would say at least 2k plus.
2k.
At least.
I would say exactly the same. I would say 2k.
2k upwards, I would say.
Okay, yeah. So mid game players, early game players, you want to reach around plus 10k HP. That's where I'm at. And end game players will have 2000 plus attack. So okay guys, if you're early game player or a mid game player, you don't wanna aim for 2000 attack because you're not gonna get it. So you want to aim for something realistic. Early game, I reckon around plus 1600. Mid game players about 1800 attack. I think that's decent. Would you say that's decent?
Yeah, I think that's fitting.
Yep. And then defense for end game player would be around plus 500. I don't think you're gonna get more than 500. It's around that 500 mark. And then
500 upwards. Like then it really depends on like what kind of efficient runes you put on him. No, you know how the build is fitting.
You know what I'm thinking?
But like 500, yeah.
You know what I'm thinking right now? Hey guys, I ruined this up to show you an early game player, RYU. I got none of those stats that we're talking about.
But I think
I know you do have that.
Like if we talk about this, like now you have a lot of speed, and early game players will struggle to get him on like 200 speed total, like you have.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I think speed's not very important on him as much as people would think it is. We're gonna get there very soon. So early game players, I think, and early and mid game players, 300 to 400 defense is decent enough. You don't want him to die with one shot, right? You don't want him to die with one hit. So you still need a little bit of defense. 300, 400, end game players around 500. I think, and like I said, speed doesn't matter as much. I think around 80 to 100 is end game. This is my opinion, and we'll see what Raxxaz will say. I say 80 to 100 is end game, and I think from anywhere from like early game about 50, 60 speed. You saw my RTA one, only had about 60 speed. It's because of his passive and the way his kit works, and I don't think speed is that important because if you're doing a lot of AoEs in RTA, he's gonna be getting hit people with lower attack than him, and he's gonna be continue counter attacking. So he's gonna have a lot of moves. So speed is not that important. I would say early game, mid game players, anywhere from 50 to 80 is good speed.
Yeah.
You agree as well?
Yes.
Yeah. So don't focus on the speed too much. I think attack will be the most important one to focus on. And then
Yeah,
crit
definitely.
rate.
Like even if you got below like the 50 mark, like I think that's fine for early, totally fine.
Yeah.
Just focus on the other stats. They are more important.
Yeah.
By far.
Especially if you're getting hit with AoEs and RTA and you want to use them in there. Use.
Yep.
Yeah. Speed doesn't matter. And then crit rate, I think it's important because these guys are going to be taking a lot of turns, especially with the AoEs. I think end game 90, 100. Early game, I think early game you want 80, 85. Even mid game you want 85 minimum. You want to be to crit. That makes a big difference.
Even if it's hard, an early game, I think. But I don't think you would want to go below 80 at all. Like 80, even 85. Like that should be a goal. What you want to hit, because like if he doesn't crit, he doesn't heal much by counterattacking, right?
Yeah.
So that's very important.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Yes, we've built this guy on a lot of attack. I don't think what you guys early game players and mid game players are thinking, oh, he needs crit damage slot 4. Yes, he doesn't need crit damage on slot 4, but that's the only place he might need crit damage. And I think like end game 140 is good, but like early mid game, I think 120, 130 crit damage is enough, in my opinion.
You could also go like with the 5-star rune. Honestly, even if you can't make it like this, just go crit rate. Go maybe some crit damage subs and make him attack. That can also help you out and
even
make
like
it easier for you to reach the stats.
Even like 100 crit damage.
Yeah.
And then have triple attack, and then 100 crit.
Yeah.
It's not a Lucian where you need like 220 crit damage or 230 crit damage or 260 crit damage. It's completely different. And I would say resistance would be at the bottom of the most wanted stats for him.
Yeah.
Because he self-cleanses 1 debuff with his new passive that was just a buff. And I think accuracy would be a little bit more important than resistance because he lands that brandy and that makes a huge difference. Also the attack break that helps him counter attack even more.
But yeah, don't forget he awakens into Aki. You usually don't really need Aki on the runes, so you're fine on that.
Even better.
I think.
Or you can just put an artifact. Skill 2 accuracy, you know what I mean? Alright, and talk. So resistance and accuracy, guys, less important. Your first priority will be attack. Your second one will be HP and crit rate. I think crit rate and then HP. And then defense, crit damage, and then resistance, accuracy last. That's the focus you want to go with. That's about it. Artifacts. What kind of artifacts you want to put on this guy?
Like RTA wise or like even siege wise, like minus damage from the main threat you're gonna hit by, like probably water in that case, because water is less likely to glance, right? Yeah, life drain is good, any crit damage subs is good, any damage dealt on is good, counter attack damage is good. That's like the stats that are good, yeah.
I know, I get this.
Life drain, crit damage.
I know the answer to this question because I've been asked a few times. Most people will know the answer. But life drain and what's the other one?
Recovery.
Life drain and recovery both work on vampire.
They do.
Yes.
But life drain is a lot better for him in this case because you have a vampire set, so it's automatically skill 1 and 2. If you have recovery skill 2, it's only skill 2, right? So life drain a lot better in this case.
Yeah. So life drain is good on him. Counter attack, because he does a lot of counter attacks. That's very important on him. Like Raxxaz said, damage taken from water, because water's most likely not to glance on him. Damage taken from water. I think for RTA as well, attack proportional to lost HP, or in general actually, if he loses a little bit HP, he gains more attack. Or not,
also not a bad stat on him, yeah.
Not a bad stat. I think that death up effect there is just a dead stat for me there. But yeah, that's
most of the time it's a dead stat, but
you
like I think he has a lot of good stats, right? Like there's a lot of good stats you can put on him that make sense.
Skill 2 crit damage.
Yep.
Skill 2 crit damage. You want skill 2 recovery, but not as important. But you do want life drain a lot. Damage by counterattack. I mean counteract damage. That's very important as well. Life drain is very important, and crit damage less HP I think is also good.
Is also good.
Yeah,
and add damage attack when low HP.
Where's that one? There you go.
There.
Attack proportion to lost HP. That's also good. And then if you guys can, don't forget damage taken from water, and if you guys can, skill 2 accuracy would also be good. These are the artifacts. Okay, Douglas, aka Fire RYU. You heard it here, not just from me talking shit. I got Raxxaz to confirm my shit talking.
Ooh.
Okay,
damn right.
Thanks for watching, guys. Yalla bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.